Good morning.
Good morning. We have fun.
We do have fun. So this is the question. Thank you for that song. So when the Spirit says sing, when the Spirit says laugh, when the Spirit says hum, when the Spirit says play, and you know that Spirit is our own inner voice, our own divine wisdom, do we listen? Or when the Spirit, which is really not our spirit, but our own internal mind chatter, says, oh, wait, so I'm going to call it spirit. Let's call it MM, monkey mind. When MM says worry, when MM says fret, when MM says panic, when MM says complain, do we listen to that? Which do we do more often? So that was a good song. Thank you. So we're going to, this morning, we're going to listen to the Spirit, and we're going to play and sing and laugh, because that is really our own divine nature, our own essence, really. So let's get started. And please repeat after me. God is good.
God is good.
All the time.
All the time.
24/7.
24/7.
366.
366.
Leap year. So how many of you have heard the story of Alexander and the horrible, terrible, not good, very bad day? Have you heard it? You're going to hear it again. Okay. I know you can fill in some of the blanks. Well, Alexander was a boy about 7 or 8 years old. And when he woke up that morning, he knew that it was going to be a terrible, horrible, very bad, not very good day. Is it hot in here? You guys need some air?
Oh, he's just having hot balls.
Oh, okay.
I go through menopause. Yeah.
Because I'm always warm. So anyway, what happened is that Alexander, when he woke up from in the morning, he found out that he went to bed with gum in his mouth, and it ended up in his hair.
Oh.
And then when he got out of bed, he tripped over his skateboard, and his sweater fell into the sink that had running water in it. And he said to himself, I knew that this was going to be a terrible, horrible, not good, very bad day. And it didn't get any better. At school, he still had a very bad day. And then after school, he had a bad experience at the dentist. And then when we got home, they had cauliflower for dinner, and he hates cauliflower. And he said, we had cauliflower for dinner, and I hate cauliflower. And then everything on TV that night, there was a lot of hugging and kissing going on. And Alexander says, I hate hugging and kissing. I don't want to see it. And it just kept on and on and on. And then his brother Nick, when it was bedtime, Nick took the pillow back from him that Nick told him that he could have forever. And he loved that pillow. And he said, I knew this was going to be a horrible, terrible, not very good, bad day. And the dog did not sleep in his bed that night, but slept in his brother Nick's bed. And so when the day was over, and he said, I knew it was going to be a horrible, terrible, not very good day, he thought, you know what, I'm just going to run away. And so how many of us have had some days like that? We've had some terrible, horrible, not very good, bad days. We've had days that have been filled with stress and frustration. They've been filled with activities that maybe did not have an outcome as we would want to have an outcome. Well, the thing is, we cannot control the outer circumstances, the outer situations in our lives usually, but what we can control is how we respond. What we can control is how we react, how we rise up, how it is that we are going to greet these situations. And so we can enter into these ideas of, oh, I knew it was going to be a very bad, horrible, terrible, not very good day. Or we can rise above. We can overcome. We can make the most of it. We can choose to look at these situations, these activities and events that they don't define us, and actually they could be a springboard for something even greater. And so this month we have been taking a conscious and a collective vacation from some negative beliefs and ideas and behaviors and patterns. And so this morning, this month, already, we've taken a vacation from scarcity, because then we know that when we are in scarcity thinking, we are living in scare-city. And we wanted to take a conscious vacation out of scarcity and move to Bounty County. And then last week, we took a vacation from judgment. And this week, we are taking a conscious and a deliberate vacation from stress. And so who needs stress? Nobody. Who wants stress? Nobody. Who has stress? Everybody, right? And so what happened in 1967, Thomas Holmes and Richard Rahe they were psychologists, and they did an experiment. And they were thinking of, way back when, so 1967 is a long time ago, maybe this was just at the beginning stages where perhaps mainstream was thinking about the mind-body interaction. And they decided to take 43 stressors of ordinary life, now knowing that there's way more than 43, but they took 43 stressors of what they had said out of ordinary life, and they gave them a scale called life change units. And what they were wanting to, their assumption was that more stress that we had would lead to health problems. And so they gave these events points. And so I'm going to give you a couple of the points here. Getting a divorce, 73 life change units. Pregnancy is 40. Remodeling a home, 25. The stress of Christmas, 13. Trouble with the in-laws, 29. And look at this. Change in church activity, 19 stressors, 19 points. Well, what they discovered is that if you had, in a year's time, 300 or more of these life change units, you are 80% more likely to develop a stress-related illness within the next 2 years. No surprise to us, but it was probably big news back in 1967. So chances are, again, as I mentioned, we cannot necessarily control these external activities. Christmas happens. Sometimes we have problems with our in-laws. There might be changes in our church activity. Maybe there's a pregnancy going on. We can't change those, but we can certainly change our response and how it is that we're going to react to these various stressors that happen in our life. And so this morning, there's multiples, but I'm going to give you two very deep. And you know, I love to be deep. And you know, I love to be serious. I'm putting my serious hat on. Spiritual principles on how to deal with stress. Now there's many. I'm just choosing two. And the first one, very deep spiritual principle, I should put my notes out. Very deep spiritual principle number one is, what is it? Laugh loudly. We could really laugh loudly if I'm going to trip over my cord. I may not be laughing loudly. Laugh loudly, spiritual principle number one. Norman Cousins, many of you maybe have read the book Anatomy of an Illness. And Norman Cousins was diagnosed with a very severe illness. He was in the hospital, and he knew the negativity in the hospital, the negativity from doctors, you know, those very poor prognoses. Oh, incurable, terminal, right? You got to get far away from that. And he heard about the idea about laughing, so he checked himself out of the hospital, rented a projector, and just watched Marx Brothers movies and old Candid Camera episodes, and started laughing like crazy. And what he realized, what he came to find out, is that 10 minutes of good laughing gave him 2 hours of pain-free sleep. So it goes to the point is, what's worse, you know, this illness with this diagnosis of terminal, uncurable, that's a pretty big stressor. That would be the 300 on the scale. However, he chose to overcome that and with laughter. And guess what happened? He ended up being healed. And so I want to share with you a story. There was a lady, a very proper woman, and she wanted to go camping in Florida. And so, but she wanted to make sure, because she was very proper, very modest, a little bit Victorian, she wanted to make sure that the camping ground that she was going to would suit her needs. And specifically, she was interested in the bathroom facilities, just to make sure that it was clean, that they had one. And so she wanted to write a letter to the campground owner. But she couldn't quite bring herself to use the word toilet in the letter. because she was proper and prim, right? So she thought about it, and she thought, well, okay, instead of using the word toilet, she could use the word bathroom commode. Well, as she's getting ready to write her letter, even those words, bathroom and commode, was too much for her. It was just too much. So she opted to use the initials BC instead of bathroom commode. So she writes to the campground and she asks them, do they have BC? What are their facilities regarding the BC? Well, the guy at the campground, he's not prim and proper. He doesn't know what BC stands for. He thinks about it for days, can't come up with it. He goes around to the other campers. They don't know what BC stands for either. And so after much deliberation and much thinking, this is what he came up with. She's interested in knowing where the Baptist church is. So he writes her back. So here's his response. Says, "Dear Madam, I regret very much the delay in answering your letter, but I now take pleasure in informing you that the BC is located 9 miles north of the campsite and is capable of seating 250 people at one time. I admit it's quite a distance away if you're in the habit of going regularly. But no doubt you will be pleased to know that a great number of people take their lunches along and make a day of it. They usually arrive early and stay late. The last time my wife and I went was 6 years ago, and it was so crowded, I had to stand up the whole time. It may interest you to know that right now there's a supper planned to raise more money to get more seats. They plan to hold a supper in the middle of the BC so that everyone can watch and talk about this great event. Now, I would like to say it pains me very much not to be able to go more regularly, but it is surely not for lack of desire on my part. As we grow older, it seems to be more and more of an effort, especially in cold weather. If you decide to come down to the campground, perhaps I could go with you the first time that you go and sit with you and introduce you to all the other folks. This really is a very friendly community. So, laugh loudly. So we want to, as a stress reliever, as a way to overcome and minimize stress, we want to laugh loudly. So I'm going to have us do this. Let's say we don't hear something. We can get into our own belly laugh right now. So I know Tom is going to lead the way. I'll lead the way, but he'll join in and we'll hear him very loudly. So let's just have a belly laugh right now. And if we get our bellies in there, for those of us that jiggle, if we get the jigglies going, 10 minutes, even if there's nothing funny, we can make ourselves have a belly laugh and immediately feel better, immediately raise our vibration, immediately energize in a greater way. Because when we're stressed, when we're worrying and fretting and being serious with all the stuff that's happened that we're not necessarily liking, then what happens? We're restricted, where our energy is low, and then we're going to do all the stuff that we talked about earlier this month. We're going to think that there's not enough, that there's not enough love, and there's not enough opportunities, and there's not enough for me, and then I have to take, and I'm withdrawing, and I'm withholding, and I'm not in the flow. We're going to be living in scarcity, and then we might think about judging that other people have more than we do, or why aren't we at a certain place, because we've allowed the stress to build up. So we can just have a huge belly laugh at any point, really, and allow those endorphins to just kind of be released. Our blood pressure will go down, our energy will increase, and we can deal with stress in that very wonderful, wonderful way. So when I say that we're having fun with spirituality here on Sunday morning, it's kind of a big belly laugh having fun. We don't do a big belly laugh, but we could. Maybe that could be part of our opening. Okay, laugh with me. Because you know, like at kindergartens, there's those studies that when you're like 5 years old, you have 100 laughs a day. But by the time you get to be a grown-up, you're down to, if you're lucky, 3. It's not that there's any less joy out, but somehow we've adopted this serious attitude that life is serious business. We got to make money, we got to go to work. We live, how many of us live for the weekends? Well, I don't know about you, but I don't think that that's the way that the universe, that infinite God, whatever it is that we want to call it, I don't think that that was the plan. Let's have humanity suffer for 5 days. And 2 days they might be able to have fun. Or those lucky few that work 4 tens, they have to suffer longer but only 4 days. Then they get 3 days. But you know, half of your last day off, you're already back not being so happy because you're thinking about going to work the next day. I don't know about you, but that doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right, and that doesn't feel right. We need to take time to enjoy. We need to take time to find fun. And even if it's just a forced belly laugh, that, you don't know, that might just be what we need to just increase our sense of contentment, our sense of worthiness, our sense of well-being, that might attract to us the very things that it is that we're looking at, because now we have a bigger, wider, broader, happier energy field that is more attractive to the good things in life. So deep spiritual principle, deep, was deep, right? I told you it was deep. And the second spiritual principle, deep, and also is this one, enjoy life. And actually, if you go to the American Heart Association website, they have four tips on what to do to reduce stress, and enjoy life is one of them. And I don't remember all 4, but the other, one of them from the American Heart Association, talk positively about yourself, relax, enjoy life, and I don't remember what the 4th one was, but it was equally something upbeat and perky. Because there's a lot of stress relievers, right? We can do some relaxation and meditation. We could exercise, and we all have different ways of relieving stress. Some of us take it out on things, right? Some of us drink, some of us eat, some of us will take drugs, some of us zone out and watch TV, some of us take it out on the dog or the kids, some of us go for walks. There's a lot of ways, but when we can be conscious about it, oh, I'm feeling stressed, what can I do? Because ultimately, sometimes we're walking, sometimes we're zoning out, we're just avoiding. We're not really taking conscious and deliberate action to elevate our consciousness, to eliminate the negativity. So that would be the big belly laugh. So enjoy life. So even the Bible says in Ecclesiastes, so I commend the enjoyment of life, because nothing is better for man under the sun than to eat and drink and be glad. Then joy will accompany him in his work all the days of the life God has given him under the sun. So even the Bible is telling us, hey, you need to enjoy life, hence deep spiritual principle. So we want to find ways to feel good, and we don't need to go far to find them. We all know what is going to make us feel good. And sometimes it's just relaxing. Let me tell you, this is a true story. So a couple of weeks ago, I took a Sunday off, and I went to visit, so some of you know, Tim and Shelley in Lake San Marcos. And sometimes, you know, I'm reluctant to stay at somebody's house because I live alone, and then I think I have to engage, and it's not super relaxing. And then I also think on the other side, they feel responsible and obligated to entertain me. Do you know how that goes? And maybe I'm just the only one that thinks that way, but you know, I stayed with them anyway. Luckily for me, I didn't have an expectation of what we were going to do, so it was a Saturday. And I guess if you would ask me, do you think, you know, yes or no, just put it down in a secret envelope, do you think that you're going to do something on Saturday with Tim and Shelley? And I would say yes, right? Well, we got dressed, I put on makeup, and Shelley said, oh, let's go to La Jolla for this arts and crafts show. Well, of mine, because I don't ever go to arts and crafts show, but they live at arts and crafts shows, but mostly as vendors. But something happened. Oh, first, they said that they live in a golf course, nice breakfast. Waffles. I had waffles with nuts on top, not coffee, very nice. Okay, get dressed. Let's go, but we didn't really go anyway, so let me tell you, the reason I'm telling you this. We didn't do anything. Tim falls asleep on the couch, and then Shelley and I are talking, then she goes to the other couch, and she takes a little snooze, and I'm sitting on the chair just kind of relaxing. Before you know it, it's like 5 o'clock. And we went out to dinner. And I will say, and it was fine for me. It was very fine, because the reason I was taking a vacation was to take a vacation. I wasn't on the computer. I didn't have the phone. I wasn't at my own house. So I wasn't thinking as I'm sitting there, oh, I should be cleaning. Oh, I should be doing some laundry. Oh, I should be working on my talk for Sunday. Oh, I should be working on my class. All those little things that go through at least my mind when, even if I don't have something to do at home, I'm thinking I should be busy. Because we need to always be busy, and that in and of itself is a stressor. Well, anyway, so the end of the day comes, and they are like, not apologetic, but many, many times, I can't believe we didn't do anything. I can't believe we didn't do it. I cannot believe we didn't do anything. I can't remember the last time we didn't do anything. I can't remember. Oh my God, we hope it's so. But you know what? It was a nice, relaxing day. It was a day, perhaps what we could have said, we enjoyed life. And we enjoyed life not by being super busy, but by giving ourselves permission to do nothing, to relax, to take in when the Spirit said nap, we had to nap. I didn't nap. We had to nap right along. Right? When the Spirit said eat waffles, we ate waffles. And when the Spirit said let's share stories, we shared stories. And when the Spirit said take a time out, it was time to take a time out. But we're so unused to, and this couple for sure, so unused to just sitting and doing nothing for an entire day. We somehow feel a little bit guilty. And what is that guilt? It's adding some stress back in. So take some time to enjoy life, and we don't have to be active to enjoy life. We can be, but we can have, why don't we list, how enjoyable would be just to list our goals and our dreams and get that good mojo going on how it would feel once we're doing that. We might meditate if we want. Maybe we can pick up that good book, take up a hobby, or just start a new hobby, or take up something that we used to do that we have long forgotten. We could play ping pong or go bowling. We could rent videos and watch these old movies. We could call a friend on the phone or call our family member. We could go in the yard and garden. We could take a little, especially out here, a little nature hike and look at the birds, look at the different kinds of flowers there are, see if we can identify the birds. My office is sitting right outside with I can see the hummingbird and the bird's nest. The bird's feeder. And hundreds of times a day, as I'm typing away, but I'm pointing out, oh, I stop every time I can see this hummingbird. And every time I see the bird. And it's like, oh, a bird. And so it's kind of mildly relieving the stress of me even having to work on the computer because I'm taking a lot of mini breaks. So we can do that as well. We can do that as well. Irma Bombeck, I'm going to stay over here. Irma Bombeck said, seize the moment. Remember all those women on the Titanic who waved off the dessert cart. So, seize the moment. Enjoy life. Take some big belly laughs. I know that sometimes on Sunday mornings, I was making light, but I think sometimes, even though I say on Sunday mornings, even though I say it, having fun with spirituality, even though I say those kinds of words, I think that there's a sense, sometimes even within me, the reason I say it is because I have a tendency to be serious. And the people that I know at work, we have a tendency to be serious. That life is serious business. And that we have to always be, I mean, even sometimes perhaps when I'm I'm encouraging you to move forward in the direction of your dreams, maybe we're hearing it as it's serious business, that we really have to take this movement. And taking this movement can be scary, which leads to stress. Taking this movement leads to feelings of being uncomfortable, which can lead to stress. So even though we're here in a supportive community, sometimes, even when we want to achieve the most, to live that life, we put our own stress on because we're so busy thinking that we have to accomplish, that we have to achieve, that we have to succeed, that we have to do something specific, that we've got to compare ourselves with other people. We've got to assess how we're doing. Are we better off today than we were yesterday? Are we better off than my brother or sister? I can't let those people, let's say I used to be a little competitive with my brother. In small weird ways, like I didn't want him to have the better hotel room. Do you know what I mean? Stupid things. Or the better meal. And so I would find myself, he didn't know it, maybe he did, but we never talked about it. But I was competing. Well, that's kind of a stressor instead of just being. Enjoying life, appreciating right where we are, no matter where we are. And whatever steps we take. Having fun, taking a big belly laugh. If we've missed the mark, it's okay. It's okay. If we didn't achieve something, it's okay. There's tomorrow. And the point of life really is about expressing God's love, being God's light, and living God's truth. But when we're so busy, stressed out, it's hard to express God's love. What would that look like for you? What would that look like for me? If somebody said to me, Janet, what would it look like for you to just express God's love? And to be God's light? And to live God's truth? That might be a whole different idea than what I have in my human mind. And I'm all for about moving forward, achieving, being happy, enjoying. But I think first and foremost, we need to be content and we need to be comfortable and we need to learn to be happy now. We need to learn to love ourselves a little bit more. We need to know and honor and value ourselves. And being willing to step into our greatness. Being willing to laugh at our foibles. Being willing to see a different way. Being willing to step back from what we thought maybe was how life is supposed to be. And allowing how it is to be just fine. And to be better than just fine. It's perfect for us. So this morning, let me just tell you what happened this morning. Hold on. Okay, I've got 2 minutes. Does anybody here have regrets? Thank you. I mean, and so sometimes I find myself thinking, as a matter of fact this morning, gosh, if I could do it over again, this is what I would be doing different. So I'm listening to the radio. Country music is coming in good. And it's a nice tune, and I don't even know the words, but the chorus is, she thinks we're just fishing. So in other words, it's a dad taking his daughter fishing, and he's doing it on purpose because these days are going to be ending soon. So they're talking about, she's talking about her life and all this stuff, and he's thinking, ha ha ha, she thinks we're just fishing, but it's really good bonding time. Somebody at my work, she's posting pictures on Facebook, and she's taking her 2 boys, they're swimming in Scottsdale. Okay, so now I'm thinking about my life, not today, but my life way back when. And I think, gosh, I was so unconscious, so much into probably work and doing. I don't think I have those kind of memories with my own daughter. How sad is that? I would like to turn back the clock, as if that could happen. Turn back the clock and really have these conscious times with my daughter. and maybe even the husband as well. You know, maybe really go on vacations and force him, even though we didn't maybe like the same things. And so I was a little melancholy for a little brief second. And then I came to my senses because that spirit said something. And so here's the thing that we need to guard against, only if you want to, is that I am then assessing and judging my life, my experiences, based on something out there that is some ideal. Who said? Who said? You know, we are here to express God's love, to live God's life, and to be God's truth. However that looks. And it doesn't have to look like I'm making these particular memories. Right? I mean, because we bought into an idea of how a family should look. We bought into an idea of what a mother should look like. We bought into an idea of what a good daughter looks like. We might have bought into an idea of what a minister looks like. We bought into an idea of what a successful business looks like. We bought into these weird ideas that may, what if they're false? What if they're not true? But because we're busy judging with our eyes, because we're busy not focusing on being God's love and being happy in the moment, being content, valuing ourselves, honoring ourselves, enjoying ourselves, laughing and living life to the fullest, now that we're using somebody else's opinion, and it's a lot of somebody else's opinions, by the whole race consciousness, but somebody else's opinion of how our life should be. I don't know if that's on the stress point, but I'm going to give that a lot of points. Not being happy with what you have based on an opinion of somebody else. That's got to be up there. I'm giving that a 300. So we want to stay away from that and learn to just love ourselves, be in the moment. It's all perfect how it is. It can't be any more perfect. Because, right, but you are it. You are the essence and the power. You are the love and the light. You are the truth of God. You are living God's life perfectly, the way you're supposed to live it, the way I'm doing it, the way I'm supposed to do it. And I get in trouble, big trouble, when I forget that and I think I'm supposed to live it like somebody else. Oh, if only I were more like them. Oh, if only my life looked like that. If only. And what happens? What happens? I am then down, not emitting energy of love and light and truth and joy and harmony and laughter and enjoyment in my own magic sparkle. No. Now, my light is dim because in my own little observation, my own limited way, I think I have missed the mark because I'm not somebody else. But I'm only supposed to be me. Just like you're only supposed to be you. So if we can just pay attention to that every day, laugh more, enjoy life how it is, I think that would be busting stress, because I can't speak for you. I'm going to speak for you anyway. But I could speak for me. I need it. I'm going to assume you need it. We need that connection to the divine. We need that connection to our own self. We need to recognize when the Spirit says, love yourself, we do. When Spirit says, laugh, we do. When that inner intelligence, when that divine knower says, dance with me, the beloved that is ever present, we do. When we get options every day to bump into God and laugh, we do. And our eyes aren't so focused on what's external that we forget to remember to do that every day. So let's laugh loudly, enjoy life, and bust that stress. And so it is.